What's going on, guys? It's Tetrosphere, and we are back with the final match from our 3v3 case tournament series at GalaxyBusterTCG for the Justice Hunter set release. Of course, we have the question of the day, and what I want to know from y'all is, what color is math? Like, when you're picking out your folders and your notebooks as a student, you know, you get your all different colors. What color is math? Because I thought we had decided as a society that math was yellow. But some folk out here seem to be putting other colors in math's mouth, and I just don't get it. But I want to know what you guys think, what color math is. With that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and move on to our dice roll, and that looks like a 9. Let's see what Brock gets. We must have missed Brock's dice roll. It is Brock on the left playing Yummy, as we are all aware. I believe this is his third feature. He pretty much was able to stay at table 1 this entire case tournament, and it is Jorje on the right playing some K9 variant. Looks like he's going to open up with Jokel revealing itself in Azuna. And Azuna is, of course, going to on summon send a Lupus. It looks like we are on Crystron K9. Jokel is then going to activate its effect to add, and it's adding Lantern. So very strong start here from Jorje. Let's see how we decide to proceed. It looks like we're going to go ahead and overlay. Do we go for Ripper or do we go into our Infinitrack? We are going to go for Ripper, and then we're going to detach the Jokel to add any K9 card. Grabbing Case. Lantern is going to target the Lupus here, summon it. And it is going to attempt to use its effect to grab a K9 spell. Likely going to grab our rank up if I had to hazard a guess. And it does indeed seem that we are grabbing Force Liberation. Now, what do we have here? Infinitrack Riverstormer. So it is, if it wasn't clear before to our opponent, it is clear now that we are indeed up against the Crystron variant. Riverstormer is going to go ahead and add our Doohickey, the scrap guy, to our hand, which we're then going to normal summon, which is going to allow us to Foolish any machine, and that's going to be met with an Imperm. Scrap is going to get linked off into Clockwork. Yeah, looks like I forget the exact details of this effect, but in one way or another, we're able to use Riverstormer to get into some plays, but it seems like that was all we needed to see. And Brock decided that his hand was not going to be good enough to play into what Jorje was inevitably going to be able to set up. Although I don't really know what the play was there, right? Because what are you going to with Scrap and Clockwork Knight that was so threatening? I guess maybe we just didn't think we could play through the probably an SP Little Knight, and then also the rank up maybe was what we felt. Or I didn't get a good look at Brock's hand, so maybe our hand was just that bad that we knew that even if Jorje wasn't able to extend, the half board was going to be too much for Yummy to play into, which can be a problem for Yummy. It can definitely struggle to play in the board, so that's what I'm guessing happened here, but otherwise, I'm not so sure what was so threatening there that we decided to scoop it up, but hey, that is the decision we made. We're going to live with it. We're going to go ahead and move on into game 2. Jorje is considering what to take out here. It's unknown to me whether or not he knows that his opponent is playing Yummy. I think at this point in the tournament, you probably know that your opponent is playing Yummy, but maybe you don't. So the Azunas and the Lupus might be coming out just because, if Yummy doesn't play into those cards, especially when you're going second, those are going to end up being just pretty much dead cards in hand. So that's a pretty strong possibility. Let's see, I don't really care for my camera angle here. I'm going to move my my beautiful face up here just so we can see a bit more of the field. I think that's going to be a bit better for us. Brock has went ahead and finished siding. It was an easy decision for him to make, and has offered his deck up for cut. Jorje still making some choices. Looks like Cluster might have come out as well. taking out another copy of Chaotic Elements for that talent. Pretty reasonable choice, even if we don't know what we're up against. Talent is obviously a very versatile card. We're going to go ahead and go in for the pile shuffle, so just taking a moment here to sufficiently randomize our deck before we go ahead and go on into game 2. Let me adjust my microphone. Okay. Pretty reasonable that, you know, after such a quick game 1, you feel like you got plenty of time to make some, you know, put a little more effort and thought into your side decision. So no real time pressure here. You've got about 40 minutes to play 2 games, so definitely wise to try to make the best decision you possibly can. I don't hate it. All right, cuts have been made. We can feel pretty safe that Brock is going to go first. Going to go ahead and get us started in this game 2. I do think I see a Phantasme and a Pankratops in the hand of Jorje, so I'm guessing he's aware that he's up against Yummy. Normal summon of Cupsy is going to be the first action, and we're going to go ahead and grab a Yummy card with it. This is not met with a hand. I see Nibiru. I see, looks like Double Pank. This is actually a brick hand on the side of Jorje, unless that Phantasme can fix it. It looks like Double Pank, Nib, Droplet, and Phantasme. So we're going to go ahead and link summon into Snatchy, which is going to use its effect to place a field spell. And we're going to chain Phantasme. So hopefully this can draw 2, discard 1. Or rather, I think it's shuffle back 1 to get into some plays. And the draws are actually part of the same effect. Oh, we do get into our cluster. So that's decent. We can go ahead and put back... I would guess you put back one of the Panks. But cluster can at least hopefully get us going. On resolution here, it is minion to go ahead and summon back the Cupsy from grave. And we're going to go ahead and synchro off the Snatchy and the Cupsy into the Cupsy Yummy way to try to grab 2, discard 1. This is summon number 4 for those counting for Nib. I'm going to go ahead and discard a Cupsy and then point out that the other card we added was in fact Cookie. We've only summoned 4 times, so 1 more will make that Nib live, and we probably are not planning to end on a Cupsy Yummy way. Players are definitely discussing something. I'm not quite sure what, but it seems like we're probably just making sure the game state is all kosher, and we're going to go ahead and summon the Cookie. Seems like Jorje was thinking on the summon there, but ultimately decided to not utilize the Nibiru, which is now live. And now we're going to go ahead and summon Lollipo. Going to link that off into the Snatchy. This is fine. We're going to go ahead and synchro into Lollipo Yummy Way, which will extend from grave. And at this point, we're still not threatening Herald, so we... maybe don't nib here. What inherent summoning procedures have we used? Is it just the Cookie and the Lollipo? But both cups are in the grave. Does look like we have Surprise in hand, which I'm sure we grabbed that off Cupsy. Of course we have Surprise. So we're considering the Nibiru here, I'm sure. Which this is likely telegraphing to Brock that he is in fact playing around in Nibiru. And it looks like this is where it's going to come down. We're going to chain the Cupsy probably just to keep it in the extra deck. Nib's going to resolve. And we're just going to go ahead and turn that token right into a Link Spider, I'm sure. Or perhaps an Onari. Although we're calculating stats, so we might not be turning it into a Link Spider. Regardless, that is one big token, although each Cupsy, Snatchy, etc., is quite small individually. Together, they do form a mighty Nib token, especially in combination with that Phantasme. I'm seeing an Imperm, what looked like a Gozen match. We have Surprise. So plenty of back row to keep us alive. It's possible, yeah, it looks like we're just going to sit on the token and hope that Jorje is unable to get into a way to simply attack over it or out it. I'm not terribly concerned with doing the math myself on what its stats actually are. But, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and flip the Gozen match, which this is really interesting with the Nib token because that token is a light. So the Gozen match is not going to stop us from playing our Yummy cards, but it is going to stop Jorje from doing basically everything he wants to do unless he's able to out the Gozen match because the Crystrons are all water and the Canines are all dark and earth. So truly, without a way to out the Gozen match, it's just Nibiru. We have Pank, which you can't summon under Gozen match because it says you can only control one type of attribute, which means while you control that Nibiru, you can't attempt to summon a monster that is not light attribute. So Pank, although truly, Pank couldn't come down anyway because you have the same number of monsters as your opponent. In theory, depending on the size of the token, I guess you could crash the Nib and then go main phase 2, summon the Pank. Pank tribute itself, target the token to pop it. Or crash it just so you can play the game. But regardless, that Gozen is very punishing because, like I said, the Crystron side of your deck is fine because it's all waters, but the Canine side of your deck is heavily hampered by this. And in the meantime, you still have that Nib. If I had to guess, I think that token is something in the neighborhood of like 6,000-7,000 attack. So crashing your Nibiru into the token just to out it is not necessarily going to be the play. Because the Phantasme, I think, is quite large. I'm pretty sure it's 2k something. Plus you had 5 Yummy names, which are, you know, several hundred to about 1,000 each, if I'm not mistaken. So we might be in the realm of like 5,000-6,000 attack on the Nibiru token. Plus we have 3 other back row to contend with. Jorje is definitely in a very precarious situation. Yeah, looks like we're going to do that. We're going to go ahead and crash into the token, take some damage. So now we can go Pank, and Pank can try to out the Gozen match, which is precisely what we're going to do. Alright, so this is fine. So we've taken some damage and we used our battle phase, but now we're at least able to play the game. Here we're going to attempt Surprise on resolution. Going for the Lollipo, which I'm not sure if I recall correctly. I think it's just on Synchro Summon that it extends from Graveyard. So I think he's hoping to go into some kind of tag out procedure. It's worth pointing out that if Jorje kept the second Phantasme that he drew last turn, Phantasme is live when the opponent special summons a Link monster. It doesn't have to be a Link summon, so the Lollipo tag out into a Snatchy plus a main deck monster will make the Phantasme live for what it's worth. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and normal summon Tristaros. This must have been our top deck. And then we're going to go ahead and activate Cluster, which on activation will allow us to add I believe it's just any Crystron card. We're going to chain the Cupsy tag out. Tristaros is going to activate here to try to summon from deck and then perform a Synchro Summon, but that's going to be met with an Infinite Impermanence. So we will not be extending with that. We're going to go ahead and go into our Snatchy and our Cupsy. And we're going to go ahead and resolve Inclusion and grab something. I believe that's Sulfador. I often confuse Sulfador and Sulfefnir. They're the same guy to me. On resolution here, we do have the Phantasme trigger on the side of Jorje, and then we have Snatchy to, I guess, replacing the other field spell, which makes sense. It's going to give us a pop, and then Cupsy is going to search or draw one. Seems like we don't have a response. We're going to go ahead and conduct a search here, grabbing another copy of Surprise, and then Snatchy is going to place a Croaky. So now when we perform a Synchro Summon, we will get a targeted pop. Phantasme offers protection, but I think it's only when monsters are targeted. So, although at this point, popping the Inclusion doesn't really do anything for us, right? I'm pretty sure it doesn't have any kind of like lingering field effect that we need to worry about. But we do draw two and then put one back off the Phantasme here. It looks like we picked up a Nib and an Imperm. Putting back the Imperm, I think, is pretty logical. Alright, so how do we extend from here? We do have the Droplet to take care of the Snatchy effect to Synchro Summon as well, for what it's worth. Although we do have one other face down on the side of Brock, which could be, I don't think I saw what it was, it could be anything. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and play Droplet, sending the, whichever one that is. I'm just going to call it blue and yellow. We don't have a response, so we're just going to go ahead and negate the Snatchy. And now we're going to use its effect in the graveyard, destroying the Inclusion to summon itself, and then on summon, it's going to be able to Foolish 2. We're going to chain a Droplet of our own, sending the Snatchy, negating the blue and yellow. Now, I'm pretty sure that was our last point of interaction, and we do still have the Eleskeletus play online between the Tristaros and the level 5 there. We very much need to get access to Cluster, though, because I'm pretty sure that's going to be like our... Oh, but I think we sided that out, though, for going second. So the question now is, how do we out this token? And we can't out it with SP because I believe we're machine locked. I might be wrong about this. I know a lot of the Crystrons have machine locks. I don't know exactly all of them, but I think that mostly it's their effects that summon themselves, like the blue and yellow there, popping inclusion to summon itself from grave. I think those effects are usually the ones that machine lock you. So we might be machine locked here. I'm not 100% sure if that is one of those effects, but it's possible. Looks like we are just going to go ahead and go for the Eleskeletus, which looks like on Synchro Summon it's adding the blue and yellow back to hand, and then it's going to destroy itself to summon yellow, which I believe that's Sulfador. Again, Sulfaptian and Sulfanor, they're too similar. You should have made them way different names. They're both yellow, mostly. They're both level 5, and their names both start with S. Just a poor naming mechanism there. Makes it difficult for my ADHD brain to keep them separated. But this actually is the Tristaros effect, not the Eleskeletus effect. My brain fart there. But the Eleskeletus was able to banish itself to pop... Or Tristaros banished itself to pop the Eleskeletus and then summon 2 from deck. And then the Eleskeletus, because it was destroyed, I believe is what allows you to special summon any of your banished or in the graveyard Crystron names. So that's how Tristaros is now coming back to the field. Again, pretty sure we're machine locked, so I don't know that these rank 5s or these 2 level 5s are going to represent access to our K9 engine. If we're not machine locked, then of course they do represent access to our K9 engine, but I believe we're machine locked. I guess we're going to find out because he is looking at Ripper and Typhon. So maybe we're not machine locked? I got to look this up. Where's my phone? I don't think my phone's handy. Where the hell did I put my phone? Well, maybe never mind. Maybe we're not looking this up, but we are. Okay, so we're going to go into FA Dong Drag. So that makes me think we're probably machine locked. Because I feel like if we weren't, then K9's definitely the play there. One of our effects is allowing us to summon another guy from deck. I don't know exactly which one. But, yeah, there's that. It's probably the Sulfador Engrave, if I had to hazard a guess. So that's going to allow us to go into Nova, which is going to allow us to go into Infinity. The problem is, though, that token can still just beat over the Infinity, right? And do, like, a ton of damage. Like at least like 2k, and then to also take care of the Omni, because the Infinity can't suck up the token. At least I'm pretty sure it can't. Looks like we're going for the effective inclusion here to summon back the Eleskeletus. This is fine. Then we're gonna... Oh, can we make Typhon? I don't think that... maybe we're not machine locked, but I feel like we have to be, right? I wish I had my phone nearby. I'm tripping. I'm like tripping right now that I don't know whether or not we're machine locked. Someone tell me, is the level 5's effect to summon themselves, do those not machine lock you? I'm pretty sure they machine lock you. But I might be yapping. Looks like we're doing some mathematics. Okay, so we took 34 damage before. Okay, so the Infinity is going to suck up the Phantasme. That's interesting. I wonder if it's doing it just to get more attack, so we can potentially survive. Not bad. I'm a little reluctant to believe that that 100 attack is going to make a difference. I'm pretty sure it gets 100 attack per material. There's no doubt in my mind that the token swinging over the Infinity is just the play here. Skeletus does make it lose 500 attack, so we're taking 3k off this swing, and of course losing our Omni Negate. So if I'm not mistaken, that's going to put us at 1600 life if we took 34 from the original attack. So we have an Omni Negate and a card in hand to play through. No effective Snatchy. Seems like we didn't have a target, so that's fine. And we're going to go ahead and turn that token into a Link Spider. Synchro for 2 into an SP to go ahead and take care of the Dawn Drags. Or not Synchro for 2. Link 2 into the Dawn Dragster. Get rid of that. So now we're not working against an Omni. The minion could go ahead and put back a Snatchy and another both Snatchies. Fair enough to put itself back in the deck. We're going to go ahead and go Surprise to summon from Grave. Going to go ahead and go Cupsy. Cupsy's going to search. I don't think we've normal summoned. Have we? No, I don't think so. So grabbing another name here is definitely logical. Going for a Link 2 or 3. Looks like it's going to be a 2 into the Cross Sheep. We're going to go ahead and summon Cookie. Going to link that Cookie off into a Snatchy. Snatchy's going to try to place the other field spell. Very nice. Mignon can now summon from Grave, and this is going to open up some Synchro plays. We do need to establish a pretty commanding board, or at the very least remove some resources from Jorje's Grave, because even though his board presence is pretty weak, Crystron has a ton of follow-up from the graveyard. Looks like we're going to get rid of one of those blue-yellows. And we're gonna go Nibiru. Another one. That hurts. That has to sting. Really has been difficult for us to establish plays here just because of these rocks coming out of the sky, but yeah, maybe I do believe that card in hand is a trap, so that might be able to keep us in the game. Looks like we're calculating some stats here. So 45, either attack or defense. I'm guessing it's defense. It looks like that's the position we... Excuse me, that's the position we put it in. And we top deck Smyger. That is so massive. That is so massive. I feel like unless that card in hand is something absolutely insane on the side of Brock, it's pretty much over. But we'll see what happens. The fat lady has not sang. We've discarded the Smyger to summon Sulfador. Sulfador pop itself to summon from deck. It's going to summon a copy of itself. Apparently it can do that. I don't know. Smyger's going to banish itself to add a spell trap. I'm going to grab another cluster. Oh man, it is so over. It is so over. There goes Inclusion. We're going to activate Purge, which Purge will get to pop because of the imperm in hand. However, at this point, it's too late. It's just too late. Oh, the Obi on the top deck would have been crazy, but alas, it was a card too late. Unfortunate, but a valiant effort on the side of Brock, you know, after a very unfortunate game one. I do wish I knew how bad that hand actually was to where you felt like it was correct to just scoop it up there, but Jorje just had so much gas in the tank to push through, and plus the two Nibiru's obviously put in absolute work there. The Gozen match just wasn't enough, and none of our pushes were just able to establish enough in the face of those Nibiru's. So it just goes to show how good that hand trap is right now. Coming into the format, I think a lot of people felt like Nibiru was not going to be that good, but I think it's very, very good. I think a lot of people have discovered that this is definitely the format for Nib. Well, guys, that concludes the series for the 3v3 case tournament at Galaxy Busters. I really hope you all enjoyed watching. I know I enjoyed doing the commentary, and I appreciate all the players participating and allowing me to film them, and I appreciate Galaxy Buster working with me to provide this content to you guys. It's really been a lot of fun for me, and I know you guys are looking forward to the next one, so I will see you there. Peace.